This is Dr. Lynn Tincher-Ladner, President and CEO of Phi Theta Kappa Honor Society, and I'm here today to talk about the holidays and how it's a wonderful time that you can get together, but it also is a time that can be stressful. A lot of you may have to travel to get home or have certain family dynamics or financial pressures, and I could go on. And the holidays can just be tough sometimes. And so to help us with this time of year, I've invited Kashanta Jackson, Dean of Counseling and Advisement at Hinds Community College. And I hope she'll offer us some coping strategies that can help us navigate this season. Dr. Jackson, welcome.
Thank you so much for having me, Dr. Tincher-Ladner. It is an honor to be in your presence, but more so an honor to talk and share tad bits on how students can cope during these times.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, I rattled off a few, but what do you see? I know you work with students, and I've known you for years, and the students they love you so much, but what are some of the most common problems, or maybe not common? What are you seeing out there, particularly in today's times?
One of the biggest things I've seen over the course of my years, students not meeting the expectations of the grades. They come in full force, wanting to earn that perfect 4.0, and when that doesn't happen, it sometimes put us in a bad place. So learning how to manage and learning that it's okay not to have that 4.0, 3.8 is just as strong. So getting them to understand that although we strive for perfection, few of us are perfect. Well, none of us actually. But that's one of the big things that I see toward the end of the semester and the at the end of the year, students trying to make the grade. Also overdoing it when it comes to spending. Mm-hmm. Many of our students, they will come in and I'll ask, what are you doing for Christmas? And shopping tends to be at the top of that list. They have a laundry list of things that they're wanting to not only buy for themselves, more so themselves than others, but the list grows and grows and grows, and it sets them up for financial instability as they come into the new year, not prepared and planning for the semester. How am I going to pay for my books, so forth and so on. So helping students understand you don't have to spend all of your money, all of your Christmas money just because you have it. So not overdoing it during this time. And also a biggie, how to cope and deal with loss of a loved one, be it friend, family member, spouse, whatever the case may be. Just learning how to cope and deal with that person not being here during these times.
Yeah, I can imagine those are probably the top three. I can relate to that. I was telling you earlier, when I went to college, I got all A's, and then as the semesters went on, I felt just the increasing pressure to make all A's, and I don't know. I finally made my first B, and it felt good to have that 3.99 and have that off my back, So it's okay to not be absolutely perfect. But so let's talk about when these students come to you. I think particularly with the spending, I feel like when students are in college, they are poor. They're supposed to be poor, and they need to. If people around them don't understand that, then maybe they need other people around them.
That is true.
But let's talk about some of your recommendations for the coping part. Like, what are some of the actual skills that you tell them to deal with these three issues?
Sure. In terms of the spending, I always tell students to spend or live below your means. Not at your means, of course, not above your means, but live below your means, and have a budget. Budgeting has worked for many years. We budget in our household and it works. But when you talk with students about budgeting, they look at you as if you've said something critically wrong. But budgeting, if it's not within your means of what you have allotted, don't spend it. I would rather my children get me something personal, something that they made that probably cost them $2, but it took some time and some creativity, than to go out and spend $100 on something that they know they can't afford, and I may not know where it is next Christmas. So just learning how to balance what you have and live below your means. And in terms of not making the grade, there again, learning that it's okay not to be perfect. It's okay not to have that 4.0, that a 3.99 is okay. And no one's going to say anything because you did not make that 4.0. You're going to still get that pat on the back. But just setting those realistic goals, and once you make them, be okay, but know that there's always wiggle room to not make that 4.0. And loss, having that support system. During this time of the year especially, we have Christmas coming up, and a lot of families have rituals that they are used to having. It's okay to start talking about setting new rituals. It's also okay to say that you have things going on and get help for what you're feeling. Grief it's hard. And we experience grief and loss in different ways. Know that you're going to have different emotions. You may be angry one day. You may feel happy another day. So knowing that this exchange of emotions, that's quite normal and natural. But giving yourself the time that you need to go through the grieving process is imperative.
Right. No, I think that everyone needs to know that the thing I love most about PTK is I feel like we are a family, and I think that just because school is temporarily over for a moment until the new semester starts, you still need to keep those friends around you. Maybe have a game night, something very inexpensive, and get everybody back together. One of the things that's been happening to me and a lot of people I know is, the political climate. And when you get around your family, invariably, if you're going to have differences in political opinions. And I don't know if you have any advice for us on handling that at the Christmas dinner table, or it's a lot. I think it's really tearing up, our families from one end to the other. It seems like at least that's been some of my experience. I don't know if you have any thoughts about that.
Well, I do, personal and professional thought. But my husband and I'll take it at a different level. My husband and I both work in the higher ed sector. So when we get home, we try not to talk about anything relevant to what we do from 8 to whatever. Now, granted, of course, that doesn't always happen, and we do have to discuss some things. But for the most part, we try to leave work at work and home is home. So the dinner table often is the place where these discussions are held. But during this holiday season, let's try to make the dinner table more about family and being together, and leave the politics for the politicians.
I agree completely. We have a lot of students. I think of them. I have international students that won't even get home over the holidays.
Yes.
So I think that reaching out to your PTK family is so important. So I really appreciate your time and talking through this. Is there anything else that you think we forgot, or?
Well, one big thing I think we often forget, and that is to take care of ourselves. At the end of the day, we are all we have, and you have to take care of yourself. Now, I know I just said do not go out and spend above or even at your means, but if shopping is something that you like to do and it's therapeutic, go out and shop, if getting your hair done, your nails done, whatever you do to de-stress, find time to do it in the midst of all that's going on. You have to take care of yourself. I always tell my students, in whatever it is you do, you want to go out and not burn out. I'll say that again. You want to go out and not burn out. So in the process of going out, you want to take care of yourself. That's all I have.
Okay. Well, thank you so much.
You're most welcome.
Great conversation.
Yes, ma'am.